I'd like to welcome you to my new setup here. Commandeered the front bedroom, most of it anyways. So yeah, here we are. And I also have a small announcement to make here. So we had found Kitty a home, and Kitty went to the new home, but then I realized that Kitty's home was really here. So Kitty is here to stay. So yeah, we have a cat now. And now we're seriously thinking of names. And we kind of like Slick. Well, Michael likes Slick. I don't know what I like yet. I still call her Kitty. I don't know. Anyway, how is everyone this weekend? I finally had a chance to stream. Oh my God, I've been working my ass off, but it's that time of year I expected it. Oh, shut up, Aaron. Shut up, Aaron. All right. And I'm going to make a quick cocktail while I'm doing this because I haven't had one in a week or more. And it's been one of those weeks. And I don't know. I kind of feel like I want one. So I'd like to thank the beautiful Renelle Smith for these awesome bar tools she got for me. Thank you so much. I use them all the time. I'm going to mute this though because this could be loud putting the ice in. I don't want to annoy people. Okay, I just pre-made like a couple, enough here for a couple margaritas. Or my version of them anyways. I don't like, I mean, I like the traditional margaritas, I guess, but I really like the flavored ones. So this is a bit of raspberry. So, yeah. Ooh. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Oh, boy. Who do we have here? Let me say hi, and then I'm going to get into it. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Veda. Hey, Sally B. Hey, Pinky. Hi, Effie. Oh, that's it. Okay. All right. So, there's a few new things going on that I wanted to talk about. You're going to see me looking over here because I have a huge picture window here. So things catch my eye. But there's a few new things happening that I wanted to discuss. No, you don't get out. We still got to figure out something that would stopping her from jumping up, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. Two of these things, I'm going to start with the first one on the channel Softway Underbelly. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Softway Underbelly is run by Mark Latia. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a 60-something, I think, 60 anyways, year-old man who interviews the most like downtrodden people in society. Like he spends a lot of time over in Skid Row just interviewing people, their stories and whatnot. But I mean, it's not just like getting their stories. He's predatory in the way in which he does this. He offers them like, I don't even, how much does he offer them? Last I heard was like $100 or $125, maybe his YouTube page. And the people, there's no story he won't allow to be told on his channel. And he recently, this past week, really crossed the line, in my opinion. This had been brought to my attention days ago, but I've been so fucking busy with work. And I've been so tired when I've been home. I just haven't. I was gonna stream last night. I didn't have it in me. So talking about it today. But this past week he did an interview with I think 13-year-old girl, or was it 14? I think it was 13-year-old girl. Yeah, 13-year-old runaway. Okay. And the reason why he was interviewing her was because he had interviewed her mother some time ago. So, and it appears as though he interviewed the mother because the mother was a working girl, a prostitute. And it appears as though the 13-year-old girl has run away from home and is following in her mother's footsteps, which that in itself is quite highly questionable. It doesn't belong on YouTube, bottom line. And he's got no place in talking with her. I'm not saying her story couldn't or shouldn't get out, but I don't think now is the time, you know, and definitely not this manner. But definitely not by him, because someone in my DMs explained this perfectly. That to hear him interview her sounds like you picture like from the old cartoons, the like wolves and everything like salivating at the mouth as like I don't know, a tasty piece of chicken walks by or some shit like that. Like that's exactly what he sounds like. It was a perfect, I think, representation. But the most disgusting thing out of this was she's on camera and, you know, she's wearing like a bikini top, but the bikini top was see-through and there was no blurring, no nothing originally when this had aired. So yeah, and she's 13 and she was fully exposed basically. And he did during the interview, like I wasn't watching it too much because I was listening and it was playing in the background, but I happened to look over when he did like this whole, like you could still hear them talking and everything. And he just like did like this still frame shot of her from like head to toe. And it was in black and white and everything was very pronounced. And at that point I stopped what I was doing and I reported the video. Like it was just, no, I'm not a big person for reporting shit. I don't like to do that, but this is absolutely something that needed to be reported. I fully back that. And I seriously think this man should really be investigated, because no person, especially if 60 something years old, whatever, in their right mind would ever have allowed that, would wanted that, would have put that up publicly anywhere, would have even owned something like that. The fact he created something like that is criminal, in my opinion. And that I really think needs to be addressed. I'm not going to play the video because even though the video is still up, mind you, I'll put a link to it if anyone wants to check it out. But all these images that I just mentioned, they're all blurred out now. So there's that. I still don't think they belong up there on YouTube, even in a blurred setting. But what I did though is I wanted the audio, so I downloaded the audio for this. I don't want the video. I didn't download the video. I don't care to watch the video, and I'm definitely not going to show the video. But it's definitely worth listening to. So mostly not, I think it's worth listening to for people to decide for themselves whether or not this channel should be up on YouTube. And I hate to say that because I'm not the content police here. I'm really not. But like I said, this, in my opinion, is criminal. This isn't just someone's perception based on their own personal morals or values or whatever. This isn't morality police. This is literally like criminal, in my opinion. And I really think he needs to be investigated. And I don't know why this channel is still up on YouTube, because this is the most disgusting channel I've ever seen. And I've said this before, like there's something about this. It's like he's making these videos to appeal to a specific audience. And it's like you get this dirty, disgusting feeling like you need to shower or something afterwards. So it's like he's appealing to predators on the internet, but he's coming at them from a different angle rather than showing like stuff you see on like, you know, legal websites or whatever. He's coming at them from an audio point of view, like, because a lot of these people in his videos, they all have stories of trauma, childhood trauma for the most part, rather it just be physical abuse or sexual abuse or whatever. And they talk about how it's impacted their life and how it helped land them in the position that they're currently in as they're being interviewed. So it's almost like it's a different kind of porn, should I say, for those people. It's disgusting. And I don't know why the fuck this channel is still up. I don't care. Come from me. I don't care. I'm not going to play the video though. But I will include a link for those who want to see it. I'm gonna provide a link to the channel. That's what I'm gonna do. You'll see the video. It's an interview. Wait a minute. Let me pause here. It's an interview with Nova. That's her name. If you want to watch it, but here I urge all of who care about what's on YouTube. If you don't care, then I get it. Don't bother. But if you find yourself to be highly invested and caring of what kind of content is on YouTube, especially if you're calling for the cancellation of other channels, then I suggest considering giving this channel a look over and make an opinion, and then go from there, or do whatever you feel is right. But just something's not right with this. I don't know. I don't like it. Anyways, there's a link to the channel. But that is the whole premise of the channel. It talks about how trauma destroys life. I get that, but he's not qualified to have these discussions. And he's doing this in a very, very negative way. He's not helping anyone. Sure, he's getting these stories out there, but he's not verifying if any of these stories are accurate or anything that people tell him. So first of all, anyone can go in there and claim whatever they want, okay? And he's profiting off that. Let's not forget, he's not doing this as some noble justice warrior or whatever. He's profiting, and he's profiting handsomely from this. Other people talking about their trauma, and he's paying them shit, which, don't get me wrong, I don't think that there should be any kind of quid pro quo there. I'm sorry. I do think that these stories, a lot of them are worth hearing and worth being told, but not while these people are still currently in the shit, because that's only going to cause them more damage. These stories should come out when these people are in a much more secure place, in a stronger place where they can handle talking about it. They can handle revisiting these things, and they can handle the attention. And think about it. Think about when you were going through whatever shit you went through in your life, and suddenly the whole internet knew about it, even if it were by your choice, because someone approached you in your most down time and offered you peanuts when you needed peanuts more than anything. It's very exploitative, in my opinion. And that's my issue with it all. But I get it. No one on YouTube is qualified. Oh no, I think some people on YouTube are qualified. They're actual people who have degrees and such. But people with degrees and such, they know that this would cause damage to people. This is why they choose not to do it. So, but that is my opinion. But offering money for interviews is not bad. It isn't. Okay, there's a reason why journalists don't pay people that they interview, because the information they get there's an incentive for it to be more scandalous than it actually is. If someone just wants to get an actual story or truth or whatever out there, they don't offer money for it, because that is going to affect what it is they're being told. Because it will, especially if you're making money off of clicks and views. If the more people who visit and pay attention to and read or listen to the story you're putting out there, if that's how you make your money, and it's contingent on you getting more people to the story and to read the story, then you're going to want to put the stories up that get the most attention. And if you're paying for the stories, then that's going to incentivize people to concoct stories that will get you that most attention. That's why any respectable journalist or whatever, they don't pay people for their story or for their interview. And any which way you look at this, Mark Latia, his career has been a photographer. That's what he says. I'm sure he's been a successful one. And now he's fancying himself as a videographer. That's his qualification here. That's it. He has no other qualification. So, and when he's talking about these things and he's making jokes and he goes on interviews and he's joking about these people and he's talking about them in just demeaning and derogatory ways. And he's profiting off of their stories. That is exploitative, that is damaging, and that is not helping anyone but Mark. So yeah. And in fact, what was it? I think that there's something about the video he was offering from his Patreon. If you just had paid to join his Patreon, you could see more of this video regarding Nova. I don't recall exactly what it was though. And I think I'm off that video now. Let me see. Here we go. Oh, okay. No, that's what he advertised. Okay. So here, I'll show this. This is the description for his video. And I think that this description is pretty much like a default thing. So I think most or if not all of his videos have the same description. I just want to make that clear. Okay, so here it says Software Underbelly interview and portrait of Nova, a 13-year-old runaway in South Central LA, has been deleted. The video can be watched on the Soft White Underbelly subscription channel at softwhiteunderbelly.com. So how long is this? It's still here though. I don't get it. Okay. For ad-free, uncensored videos and plenty of exclusive content, please subscribe to the Soft White Underbelly subscription channel at softwhiteunderbelly.com. It's $10 a month and watchable on Apple and Android mobile apps, Roku TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Here's a link to a GoFundMe campaign to help some of the people seen in Soft White Underbelly interviews. That's interesting. I want to check out this. Okay. Oh, let me just say it. Here we go. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Elizabeth. Thank you. Yeah, exactly, Mikhail. She was half naked, and he was asking her about the men's encounter and called her a seasoned vet because she worked Figueroa Street on the main strip in Vegas. Yeah. And see, this is what I find to be incredibly, it can't be argued against, okay? Any which way you look at it, Mark found it to be acceptable to make this video, to not shade anything out, and then to upload it to YouTube. He found this to be acceptable. You can't argue that. You can't argue in defense of that because it was CP any way you look at it. It was. It's still highly questionable and quite disgusting, even though it's shaded now. But before it was shaded, it was CP, in my opinion. But yet the channel is still up, and it's just they just covered up the naughty parts or whatever, the naughty bits, whatever you want to put it. That's fucking crazy. Yo, that's crazy. How is that not fucking crazy? I'm sorry. You can't argue in defense of that. You can't, not in my opinion. Mm-mm. Was that guy part of the group that did the interviews with that family in Appalachia who interbreed and ended up with significant birth defects and breeding nose? I do believe, yeah, he's got this whole series where there's some family in Appalachia. They've been dubbed like the most inbred family like ever or something like that, which I think some royal lines might give them a run for their money there. But yeah, he's done something like that. I don't know much about it, so I can't comment on that. right, so here we have the GoFundMe. Software Underbelly by Mark. Software Underbelly, $34,000 raised of a $50,000 goal. Okay. He's the organizer of this fund. And here's donations to the Software Underbelly GoFundMe campaign are shared by the 7,000 people who have been interviewed for the Software Underbelly YouTube channel. Examples of how these funds are used include providing housing for the homeless, especially those caring for children, transportation to go visit their children, providing food, clothing and tents for those living on the streets, as well as rehab and therapy when enough funds are specifically targeted for a certain individual. There would be, I think, some sort of, I don't know, addition there regarding Amanda. So yeah. When did this, is there any updates? Donate, share. There's no updates or anything. This is it. When did this start? Why is this so big? There. Okay, created June 5th, 2023. So he's made $34,000 since June of this year. And I'm not seeing any updates. It looks like that's just the only thing he's put up there. So he's not, yeah, he hasn't even provided any information or any receipts or anything where any of this money is. He's just stating where it's intended to go. Now, if, I'm not saying, I don't know. He very well could have, there's a chance he could have spent every dime of what he received on those things mentioned. And he may very well have receipts for them. I don't know. I'm just saying that, yeah, this is definitely not anything I would donate money to without some sort of assurance proof. I would want to see some data on what kind of effect this has had on the community in which it's aiming to help. Like, for example, I would want there to be some sort of follow-up or whatever with the money. And I'm not saying that because I don't trust the people getting money, but I wouldn't want people to be handed a bunch of cash if they're a drug addict and then they end up ODing or something. I wouldn't want to donate to something that's going to continue doing that, is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So I would hope that follow-up was done and some data was available in which to show people what it kind of effect this fundraiser is having for those it's serving, providing it's actually serving them anyway. And what just came through on my phone? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So yeah, there's that. I'm not going to go through anything else in here. So, and for those who are not familiar with Mark Latia's history, really, here, there's a couple of videos I did. It's not so much on him, but he was part of the story, I guess. But it fills you in a lot more on who he is and what relevance he has to things. The videos are from, was it really over a month ago? It was 2 months ago. Shit, okay. So from 2 months ago, who was Lima Jevremovic? Did I say that right? Went to shot with Bam Margera and your medical data. There's part 1 and part 2. So I'm going to just link part 1 here for everyone if you guys want to check it out. So that's part 1. And I will try to also remember to put these parts in the description, but we all know how well I am at that. All right, so I'm going to move on from this now. How far into the stream am I? see if I can remember to do chapters. So 25 minutes. I don't know how to do this. Just make a note and do it later. So 26 minutes will do. All right, so next story is Turtleboy. Only I put Turtleboy in the description because it was just, I think, easier. But it's not a Turtleboy I want to discuss and continue discussing as this unfolds. It is actually the case against Karen Reed regarding the death of her then boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Now, boy, I'll be honest, I'm coming into this with no opinion, okay? And I don't think bias, wherever I land, I don't think bias can really be argued because I have done things, my actions have shown support for police officers and my actions have shown not really support of police officers. It depends on the situation. So I just want to point that out. But I gotta say, though I'm of no opinion on whether or not Karen Reed is guilty or who may or may not be guilty, I don't see how the hell this should be going to trial. I don't see how it can, it's going to be, I think, a huge colossal waste of time and money and resources on the prosecutor's office, on the whole legal system, really. Because, okay, if you are part of a governing body that casts judgment on the citizens, you and your agency, your organization has to be above reproach, okay? You have to be transparent. You have to be better than good and right. You have to be above board. You can't be doing shady shit and you can't be hiding shit. And that's exactly what this seems like this police department is doing. Like, there's one channel I was watching that came out and blamed Turtleboy for having some sort of sway over this entire community and convincing people that the police department is bad or untrustworthy or whatever. Nah, that's not how that happens. And I watched Turtleboy, and though he's a very entertaining YouTube content creator, I don't think he's that powerful to sway an entire community to think one way or the other on anything, let alone on something so controversial as police accountability. So I'm just going to say that these feelings of distrust for their local police department, for their state police department, those feelings had to have been there. They had to have been brewing for a long time. There had to have been already minds made up for the things Turtleboy is saying to appear to have any kind of hold on those listening. What Turtleboy has done, in my opinion, is he's created a virtual space for these people who already had this in their mind, who already had come to the conclusion that there is a lot of fuckery afoot. That's what Turtleboy has done. He's been a voice for a lot of these people. He's given them a virtual space in which to convene in. That's it. Everything else, the fault for how or why these people needed or could make use of such a space, that fault lies on the police agencies involved. It just does. Yeah. You can't, no one man is that powerful. And nothing against Turtleboy, but he's not that powerful. I don't know what you're insinuating with that comment. Okay, I'm not going to go back to that right now. Oh, you don't believe that she's paying for her own braces? Well, that's interesting. Why wouldn't she? Chances are the braces were put on by someone else who a guardian of some sort, and now she's stuck having to pay for them and to continue the upkeep with them. That would be that's how I would think it would have happened. But anyway, I'm not going backwards. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to go over some of this here. Where'd it go? Where's this? There it is. Okay. So I think just today, December 10th. So I thought I'd read this one because it's probably the most up to date, but it's not going to be the most complete because it's CNN. They're not going to really include much information that the defense is discovering because it's fucking CNN, you know. But for the gist of it, I think that they'll be accurate. So this article, like I said, this is just from today, right? Yep. Sunday, December 10th. Okay. In the pre-dawn hours of January 29, 2022, a man was found dead in a blizzard outside a house in suburban Boston. He was wearing 2 shirts, blue jeans, socks, and 1 black Nike sneaker. On the blanket of snow near his body were shards of glass and splotches of blood, which there's some question about some of that, which I'll get to. His name was John O'Keefe, and he was a Boston police officer. O'Keefe and his girlfriend of 2 years, Karen Reed, had been on a bar crawl earlier that night. Shortly after midnight, according to court documents, they climbed into her black Lexus SUV and headed to an after party at the home of a fellow Boston police officer on Fairview Road in Canton. About 6 hours later, O'Keefe's body was spotted in the front yard of the house, covered in snow. But what happened during those 6 hours has sharply divided Canton, a town of 24,000 people, about 15 miles southwest of Boston. Residents of the town and neighboring suburbs have spent months debating 2 potential scenarios. Was O'Keefe beaten inside the house and tossed outside to die in the snow? Or did his girlfriend fatally strike him with her car? To which I have to say something here. If that were the case, one of 2 scenarios had to happen. Either it was an accident or she was mad and hit him with the car. If she was so mad at him, how would she be driving him off anywhere? Wouldn't she just be like, no, fuck you, I'm not letting you out, and just keep driving or something? Like, why would she just, I don't know. I think that's what I would do. I don't know. I would not wait for someone to get out of the car and then hit him with my car in front of a home owned by his colleague, a fellow Boston police officer. What the fuck? Like, is she an idiot? I don't think she's an idiot. Because, I mean, she would have to be an idiot to the point that she was unable to get to this point in life on her own, okay? Clearly, she's been able to do that. So she's not that much of an idiot. Anyway, like I said, I still haven't made an opinion, but there's a lot of things I find highly questionable here. And though most of it does most of the things I'm questioning are on the side of the police department, I'll be honest, or the prosecution, whatever. Okay. Local prosecutors have made their position clear, charging Reed with second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated, and leaving the scene of a collision. She has pleaded not guilty, and her trial is set for March. How's my son going? This is a picture of John O'Keefe, by the way. No matter what's happened here, John O'Keefe is a victim of either someone's intent or of circumstance, one or the other. He's still a victim, and he should be remembered as, I don't know, as a person. I don't know. I don't know anything about him, I'll be honest. Probably should. With both the trial and the 2-year anniversary of O'Keefe's death looming, debate over the case has torn apart the tight-knit town. Residents have stormed city council meetings, demanding answers. Some have accused the local police of a cover-up to protect those at the party on Fairview Road. Others have visited Facebook group pages and local blogs to discuss intricacies of that fateful night, turning what began as a local homicide case into a broader sensation. At the heart of the controversy is a key question. Did O'Keefe enter the house on Fairview Road that night? The prosecution says no. The defense says yes. Those who have heard of the case had pretty much picked a side, said longtime Canton resident Jonathan Camus, who recently moved to a nearby suburb. There is the she is guilty side and that there was a fight in that house side. There is pretty much no one on the fence. What Karen Reed says happened that night. Reed, 43, is out on bail awaiting her trial. In court documents and in media interviews, she said that she and O'Keefe went to 2 Canton bars that night. They mingled with friends, drinking beers and vodka sodas before going to the home on Fairview Road. Reed said she dropped off O'Keefe outside the house, then returned to his place because she wasn't feeling well. She called and texted him throughout the night, she said, but there was no response. About 4:30 a.m., Reed woke up screaming when she realized O'Keefe had not come home, court documents said. That's Reed. She called 2 female friends, including Jennifer McCabe, who had been drinking with her that night. Together, the 3 women drove through the streets of Canton in near whiteout conditions looking for O'Keefe and calling his name, court documents said. Yeah, this night was a nor'easter was hitting Boston this night. So as the 3 women approached Fairview Road, Reed said she caught a glimpse of O'Keefe lying on his back in the yard. McCabe told authorities that Reed jumped out of the car in a panic and performed CPR on him, but he was not responsive. Women called 911. It was so dark, officers who responded to the scene said they needed to use a spotlight attached to a police cruiser to find the women, court documents said. See, they're right there. That tells me that CNN has picked a side. CNN, and that side is not Karen Reed's or Truth and Justice, whatever, okay? Because they're trying to set the scene where it would have been impossible for Karen Reed to have spotted this man laying there in the snow unless she had some sort of prior knowledge that he was lying there in the snow. Because the officers were unable to even spot the women near the body in the snow because it was so dark. They needed this police cruiser light in order to get any glimpse of them. But somehow Karen Reed, just driving by, was able to spot them laying there. They did. This is the picture that they're painting. Is it not? That tells me all I need to know, really. And she knew where she dropped him off at. So, of course, she's going to look right at that spot where she dropped him off at. All you need to do is see something and something standing out to you in this entirely white background. No, it's not hard to do at all. A medical examiner later determined that O'Keefe suffered multiple skull fractures consistent with blunt force trauma that led to bleeding in the brain. He also had 2 swollen black eyes, several abrasions on his right arm, as well as blood around his nose and mouth. Hypothermia was a contributing factor in his death, the autopsy ruled. Reed and her legal team, which includes attorneys Alan Jackson and David Yannetti, have said she's being framed to protect the real killers. We know who did it. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know, Reed told reporters after a court hearing in September. I tried to save his life. I tried to save his life at 6 a.m. I was covered in his blood. I was the only one trying to save his life. Yeah, why wasn't other people there? I mean, this was a fellow police officer outside of a fellow police officer's home. Why was the whole household not outside trying to do all they could do to save their man? Okay. Jackson told CNN that he believes O'Keefe entered the Fairview Road house that night and got into an altercation with someone inside. I think the confrontation got physical and he was beaten to a point of unconsciousness, Jackson said. This was a cover-up. He was murdered inside that house and his body placed outside. Okay, here's the house outside of where he was found. I mean, it's not like, so if she dropped him off in the driveway, it would have found here where his body was found, right? And they're driving by the road right here. You don't need a spotlight to see in there. And all right, I'll get to the rest of it in a minute. Okay. Oh, he's found near the fire hydrant outside this home on Fair. Okay. So he's found right near the road. What does CNN mean that the officers needed the spotlight? I mean, they must, I wouldn't trust them to pick anything out of anything. I don't know. I wouldn't want them working on any cases of mine, that's for sure. The owner of the house at the time, Brian Albert, has not responded to CNN's request for comment. In Reed's charging documents, Albert and his wife told police that O'Keefe and Reed joined their group at Waterfall Bar and Grill, the second bar in Canton. I think what they mean by that is the second bar that Reed and O'Keefe visited that night. The Alberts said they invited some people from the bar to their house, but were not aware O'Keefe and Reed were coming over. I could swear I read somewhere that Karen Reed asked O'Keefe to just call ahead and make sure it was okay for them to come over for whatever reason, or for both of them to come over for whatever reason. I could be wrong though on that. I read about that, and I think I read about that like way in the very beginning, and I forgot all about it till just now. I don't know. The Alberts also told police they, quote, neither heard nor saw anything outside of their home over the course of the morning, according to court documents. For that, I call bullshit. Think about it. This is a Boston police officer. You mean to tell me he ain't got security cameras outside of his home anywhere? Like ones that send an alert to your phone whenever or something? No, I'm not a fucking police officer. I'm nowhere near a police officer. And I got like 4 of these bitches outside of my home. Okay? So really, I don't buy that for a second. I just don't buy that. Anyway. The Fairview Road house was sold in April. Jackson said that the Alberts owned a German Shepherd, which he believes is responsible for some of the bruises found on O'Keefe. I think that's possible. You notice it says owned, past tense. Where's that dog? What prosecutors say happened that night. They didn't even say what Karen says happened that night. Oh my God. The prosecution's narrative centers on what happened outside the house on Fairview Road. They allege that O'Keefe and Reed got into an argument that led to him getting out of the Lexus. No, I would say that the fact that they drove there and she parked is what led to him getting out of the Lexus. That was the intent all along, was it not? Why else would she have been there? So to insinuate that the reason what led to him getting out of the Lexus was their argument is nonsense. They say evidence suggests a drunken Reed struck him with her vehicle as she made a 3-point turn, leaving him to die in the snowy cold. Okay. A 3-point turn in a snowstorm. Okay, a 3-point turn even without this. How fast do you think that car is going to be going? Now, for granted, you don't need to be going at a high rate of speed to actually cause some damage, sure. But then you add the snow onto that, on top of that. How fucking fast do you think she was going to have caused that much physical damage to a man by accidentally backing into him or whatever while doing a 3-point turn in the snow? And if this road were anywhere near as dark as the police want to insinuate it was, you know, when they get this explanation, paint this picture of needing the spotlight, even see the women there, well, then she couldn't have been able to see shit. And it was whiteout conditions. How fucking fast do you think she was going? That is, like, you're not even trying at that point, I don't think. Okay. This is why I have a hard time believing that there was any kind of accident, because I just don't, the environment isn't conducive for one. I think what the prosecution is going to end up having to go with is that there was intent involved. And I take issue with that too as well. I don't think that there's any case for that either. But it doesn't mean to say that that it didn't happen. I don't think that they have the evidence for it. And I think that they have a lot of questionable evidence at that. Stuff that kind of brings questions back upon them. So this should not be going to trial, in my opinion. But really, I'm not a legal expert. Who the fuck am I? Anyway. Investigators said surveillance footage shows between the 2 bars the couple went to that night, Reed appeared to consume at least 9 drinks. That is a lot. The third woman in the vehicle that morning told investigators that Reed appeared drunk when they were searching for O'Keefe. then why the fuck were you letting her drive, yo? Like, come on. Like, that sounds awfully fucking convenient. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. Why did they like blood test her or piss test her that morning or anything? I mean, I want to know that. Reed also mentioned that her SUV's right taillight was damaged and asked McCabe, could I have hit him? Did I hit him, according to charging documents? Now, I'm going to address the could I have hit him thing. I would have asked that question. If I found my man lying on the side of the road and I had dropped him off and I had a few drinks, and first of all, I would have been feeling guilt. Like, why did I just leave? Why didn't I make sure he got in the house? Why didn't I just take him home with me? Oh my God, I would be feeling some sort of guilt about it, because who wouldn't? Who the fuck wouldn't? And then and then you add all the other specifics on top of this. You're going to sit there. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to question yourself. And you're like, oh my God, right? Oh my God, what? And then you're going to quickly realize and remember that no, that wasn't the case. But your initial fear is going to be, did I help contribute to this? Is there something I could have done to prevent this? Did I fail this person who I love? I can't think of anyone who wouldn't go through that process at that moment. I'm sorry. Anyway, and that's assuming that this happened in the manner in which McCabe says it did. And I have questions about that because of a lot of other things. McCabe and the other women in the car told investigators that as they neared the Fairview Road house, Reed cried that she could see O'Keefe lying in the yard, despite the near whiteout conditions and a cluster of trees obstructing the view. The two other women told police that neither of them could see O'Keefe at that point. So Reed then leaped from the car, ran to O'Keefe, and began trying to do CPR, they said. Well, sure. If you ran to someone who was lying in the side road and you saw that they were like severely injured and they were unresponsive, the first thing you would do is check for signs of life. And if you even thought you failed to find them, you would do all you could. I don't see how that's something odd. Oh, okay, now my son's back. In case documents and in court, Reed's attorneys have said they believe McCabe, who is Albert's sister-in-law, is part of a cover-up to protect the people inside the house and frame Reed for the crime. A forensic search of McCabe's phone revealed a Google search for the phrase, "How long to die in cold," hours before Reed called McCabe looking for O'Keefe, according to court documents. Prosecutors dispute the timing and reason for the search. But let me ask you something. Had Karen did that search, would prosecutors then be disputing the reason and the time for the search? No, they wouldn't. So you need, I don't know, they're not, the prosecutor, people investigating this situation are not doing so in a non-biased manner. They're not, in my opinion. And also, this is probably why the FBI has been called in to investigate the investigation by this police department. I think it's what, state police who are running the police investigation? Okay. McCabe has not been charged with a crime and did not respond to CNN's request for comment, nor did her attorney, Kevin Reddington. But Reddington told local media that allegations of McCabe's involvement in a cover-up are baseless. She cooperated with the police. She answered all their questions. She testified before the grand jury, Reddington told the Sun Chronicle in April. The next thing you know, she gets smeared by the defense team. No shit, dude, that's how shit happens. That's how it goes. I mean, are you really surprised by that? Norfolk County District Attorney Michael Morrissey. Okay, so it's Morrissey. Canton police officers said they searched the area by O'Keefe's body and found pieces from a broken cocktail glass and patches of blood in the snow. Now, I want to reiterate that from what I understand, Anything found in regard to that was found hours later after a plow had gone by and shit or whatever, removed some snow. But even still, just keep this in mind, that whatever broken cocktail glass, we're not even at, pieces of the tail light, okay. So whatever pieces of a cocktail glass or tailgate, or tail light rather, were found in the snow during a nor'easter at some point in time, hours after he had been placed in that situation, okay? So that means that all physical evidence had been sitting outside in the middle of a nor'easter near whiteout conditions for hours, okay? I want to just keep that little bit of information in mind because I'll get to that momentarily. In a video statement in August, Michael, I didn't read that, okay. State police later found pieces of a tail light at the scene that appeared similar to a broken right tail light on Reed's vehicle, court documents said. We'll get to that broken tail light too. In a video statement in August, Michael Morrissey, the Norfolk County District Attorney, said location data from O'Keefe's phone showed he never entered the Fairview Roadhouse. Innuendo is not evidence. False narratives are not evidence, he said. 11 people have given statements that they did not see John O'Keefe enter the home. 0 people have said that they saw him enter the home. 0, no one. There was no fight inside that home. O'Keefe's family has described him as a loving man who stepped up to raise his niece and nephew after his sister and her husband died. That is pretty awesome. People talk about someone who would give you the shirt off their back, but that was truly who John was. And it is heartbreaking for us to suddenly be talking about him in the past tense, the family said in a statement to local media shortly after his death. O'Keefe's niece and nephew, who lived with him for about 8 years, told investigators that he and Reed argued a lot and had expressed the need to take a break from one another. But Jackson, Reed's attorney, told CNN that she and O'Keefe had not argued that night. Oh, I mean, so what? Okay. A lot of couples argue. A lot of couples will break up a lot too, or take a break here and there. Most of the time, it doesn't lead to someone's death. Okay, at least not intentional death. Investigators dispute allegations of a cover-up. Morrissey, the district attorney, has demanded a stop to the intimidation of witnesses in the case. He says allegations that a network of law enforcement agencies conspired to frame Reed are not plausible. These people were not part of a conspiracy and certainly did not commit murder or any crime that night, Morrissey said in his August video statement. They are not suspects in any crime. They are merely witnesses in the case. The idea that multiple police departments, EMTs, fire personnel, the medical examiner, and prosecuting agencies are joining in a vast conspiracy should be seen for what it is, completely contrary to the evidence and a desperate attempt to reassign guilt. To which I say, this is the one thing that I kind of find myself stuck on too. Because when you have enough humans involved, you can't keep anything a secret. I mean, look at Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. 3 people that we know of have been made privy to this information at the time. That was the 2 people involved and then Linda Tripp. That got out. And this was with the president of the United States. Even he couldn't keep his shit secret. I have a hard time believing that there are this many people in on this conspiracy and they're all keeping it secret. Though it's still early, someone could still come out with the truth, in which case, okay, but unless and until that happens, this is going to be something I get stuck on. So I find myself believing that if this were the fault of someone in that home, that there can't be this many people in the know regarding it. I don't see how there can be, and it still be kept a secret. It's human nature to tell secrets, you know? And this isn't like the CIA or some huge thing, you know, that could bring about World War III or something, you know? So I don't see how that many people could be involved and it still be a secret. I question how many people would actually be involved in whatever cover-up there is going on here. In a statement to CNN, Canton Police Chief Helena Rafferty said investigators found absolutely no evidence of a cover-up in the tragic death of John O'Keefe. That's laughable, though. I would want to know what steps were done in this investigation, and I would want to see some of the things discovered or whatever. I mean, just saying that you did an investigation and this was the finding is, I don't see how that's acceptable. You have to offer a little bit more than that. You have to say, well, we have this evidence that we reviewed, and this is what it showed. This is why we've come to this conclusion, I think. But regardless, this is pictures of injuries on O'Keefe's arm, which that doesn't look like being hit by a car to me. A lot of people have this theory that John O'Keefe was mauled by an animal, a dog in particular. That's kind of what that looks like, in my opinion. Again, who the fuck am I? Yeah. How does getting hit by a car do that? Okay, whatever. I digress. At a town board meeting in August, she acknowledged there's a mistrust for the police department in Canton, but said it's not as widespread as portrayed. No, it is. It really fucking is. If you have this many people against you, it is absolutely that widespread. Like that's a gaslighty thing to say, in my opinion. However, I do acknowledge that it is there, and I hear you, she said. I believe the first step in bridging that trust gap is effective and healthy communication. Is this your idea of healthy communication and effective? Because you're doing it wrong, in my opinion. She did not respond to further questions from CNN on the root of the mistrust. That's what I want to know. I want to know more about what caused this widespread mistrust. I mean, I have a rough idea. I mean, I think we all can have a rough idea about that. But I want to know specifically what it is, because that could lead to helpful information possibly regarding this situation. Maybe not. I don't know. Last month, Canton residents voted for an independent investigation into the police department after a special town meeting that focused on Reed's case. Rafferty told CNN she believes the $200,000 budget for the investigation would be better spent on other things. Oh, yeah, I bet. Like maybe a raise or some shit, probably. There's a reason why you don't get to choose how that money is spent, because there's a conflict of interest. I believe that Canton has more productive uses for the funds to serve our town, she said. Regardless, we welcome the review, which will end this wild speculation about our police department and demonstrate to everyone that the citizens of Canton should be proud of our dedicated officers. That is the absolute wrong statement to say, in my opinion. If you are looking at a possible outside inquiry into your organization, how you answer that is, I welcome this, because if there is any fuckery afoot, we need to know so we can rid our organization of this fuckery. If there's anything we could be doing better, I want to know so we can improve our relations with the community in which we serve. So we welcome this investigation, and we thank you for voting for this to help better our community. That's the answer you give. You don't give this answer, in my opinion. See, I mean, this is an answer that someone from the police union would say, not someone who's the public face for the police and the person that interacts with the community that the police serve. That's not the answer that person gives. This is not that answer. CNN affiliate WFXT reported last week that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Massachusetts has launched a federal probe into Reed's arrest and prosecution. When reached by CNN, the federal agency declined to comment. We can't confirm or deny investigations, it said. The furor over the case has divided the town. Reassurances from the police and prosecutors have not done much to quell the debate in this upper middle class suburb, known for being the headquarters of donut chain Dunkin'. Okay. Walk into a coffee shop or restaurant, and anyone who's heard about the case has formed an opinion, said Camus, whatever, who grew up in Canton. In Canton and surrounding towns where family ties span generations, residents had picked sides, leading to grudges and accusations. Albert's brother is a selectman in the town, which has added another layer to the debate. Some former Canton residents told CNN. Wait, what? I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Yeah. There are people who privately talk about the case and are scared to say anything out of fear that the police or other townies would be upset and something would happen to them or their children, Kamal said, which I have to say there's real reason for that fear. Turtleboy's live stream last night. He apparently he submitted a FOIA request to I think the police or several agencies. I think the police department, Canton Police Department, and the prosecution's office. And he asked for emails containing specific keywords, and Turtleboy was one of the keywords. Well, one series of emails he received was a couple of people who worked in the police department talking about just a citizen making Turtleboy cakes out of their kitchen and not even selling them, just making cakes and sending out, giving them away, whatever. And there was, in this email exchange, there was a discussion about calling the health department on this woman and her kitchen because she was making Turtleboy cakes. So yeah, I have to say there's real fucking reason to fear speaking out against this police department or in favor of Turtleboy or Karen Reed, because they're talking about calling the health department on a woman in her kitchen making some cakes for people. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Okay. I'm going to, oh, you know what? Let me put a link to that live stream here because I'll be honest, I didn't watch the whole live stream. I only watched from, I went to the chapters and I watched from FOIA request emails. So that's the 1 hour, 45 minute mark. That's where I watched from. But there, he goes over, you received a lot of fucking documents in response to his FOIA request. So he only talked about, I think, a snippet of them. But that alone was highly interesting. Like, yeah. I strongly suggest that if you have any interest in this case, that you go and check out this recent live stream here by Turtleboy. Come on. Well, while I wait for this link to load, it's still up, right? Because usually that happens when a video has been removed or privated. The video has been removed for violating YouTube's policy on harassment and bullying. Holy shit. Yo, Turtleboy's live stream from last night has been removed by YouTube. What the fuck is that? Oh my God. Yo. I had a link to it anyways. I'm going to put the link here in the chat because I want to check Wayback Machine for it later. Hopefully someone archived it. Like, yo, that's crazy. I was just watching this like when I was getting ready for this live stream. I started watching it last night, but I was so tired I fell asleep. So I went back and I saw the chapters and I read or I listened in from 1:45 on. Yo, that's fucking crazy though. And that happened quick. Like that happened super fucking quick. I want to know how the fuck that happened so fast. Are you kidding? You missed the way people drive in Boston. Boston is known for their like shitty driving. I didn't really think that this was the thing, but my friend Jen was over last night where I was telling her about this situation. And she's talking about how she loves Boston, but she can't stand driving in Boston. And she's going on about all the one-way streets and the roundabouts and the fucking drivers. Okay. I don't know. I just saw your comment, Elizabeth, so I thought that was funny. Okay, let me go back. That's crazy though. Hopefully he streamed to more than one streaming platform. Hopefully it's not just on YouTube. Hopefully it's on like Kick or Rumble or some other shit too. Hopefully he was able to download it or something as well, or it's saved in his streaming. Like if you use StreamYards or whatever, it's saved there. and hopefully it was archived in Wayback or something, or in the Internet Archive. And that's where I'm going to look for it in a little bit. All right, after I'm done streaming, I'll look for it then. But okay, so let me go back here. That's crazy though. Even the local businesses understand that they cannot pick a side for fear of losing business. Yeah. Well, they shouldn't. Businesses, I don't think, should be picking a side. Their business is about their business. It's not about politics. Hundreds of police officers line up to attend a wake for Boston police officer John O'Keefe at St. Francis of Assisi Church on February 6 in Braintree, Massachusetts. Wow. Aidan Kearney, a Massachusetts blogger nicknamed Turtleboy, has fed the ongoing debate with numerous posts alleging a murder cover-up by law enforcement and local politicians. But he's also made his own headlines. In October, Kearney pleaded not guilty to charges of witness intimidation and conspiracy after he allegedly called and sent messages to witnesses and investigators in Reed's case, CNN affiliate WBZ reported. Well, what does it matter if you send messages to investigators? How is that witness intimidation? They're not. And conspiracy, what is he being charged for alleging that there is a conspiracy or for being a part of a conspiracy? Like, what is that? I will not be silenced, Kearney, wearing a Free Karen Reed sweatshirt, told a crowd gathered outside the courthouse after his release. I will be steadfast in keeping on with this mission to expose the real killers of John O'Keefe. In nearby Malden, a group of Reed's supporters hosted a Halloween Day fundraiser for her defense. Some attendees wore Free Karen Reed t-shirts and FBI hats or wrapped themselves in yellow crime scene tape. I don't like that. I think the yellow crime scene tape is a bit too far. Peter Ellikin, an author and criminal defense attorney in the Boston neighborhood of Charlestown, told CNN he's watched the dueling narratives unfold over the past few months. Social media has fed competing theories and amplified the debate, he said. Yeah, that's what social media does. I mean, it's like opposing armies lined up on the horizon, Elkin said. But unlike a lot of murder cases that can appear open and shut, he said, this one is anything but. That's true. The interesting thing here is that the controversy is not based purely on emotion and gut instinct. The facts as promised by the prosecution and the defense are in such stark contradiction, he said. Sean McDonough, a former Canton resident and retired DEA agent, said the deep divisions surrounding the case do not surprise him. He attended high school in Canton, knows the town's culture and politics, and said there's long been a deep mistrust of the police department. A lot of questions have come up that basically divide the town, and there's answers that have not been given yet, said Sean, who now lives in Naples, Florida. It was a beautiful town to live in and still is. It's just, this is a very big cloud that's hanging over them, and it's getting worse. Sean and others interested in the case have joined private Facebook pages too. There's no such thing as a private Facebook page. Can we just get that straight? It's a group to dissect scenarios of what they believe happened that night. Several pages have thousands of members. They're groups. They're fucking groups. One Facebook post acknowledged the nuances of the case and how much they've torn the town apart. From the outside looking in, it's hard to understand, the post said. From the inside looking out, it's hard to explain. I don't think it's that hard to explain or understand. O'Keefe would have turned 48 on Friday. Holy shit. He's my age. Well, a year younger. At Canton, I'm still 48, I want to say that. At a Canton town meeting Tuesday night, resident Jennifer O'Donnell said that amid all the controversy, some people have forgotten the real victim. I would like to take the opportunity to remember one of Canton's own and finest, she said. Many of us have noticed a lack of such a moment after his passing. In spite of all the acrimony, she said, people in Canton should share one common goal, justice for John O'Keefe. To which that I agree. I do. All right, let me close that out. Now, let me see here. Now, here's my take on things. There's been something that came out recently. Let me search here. All right. First of all, I want to play this video clip here. Now, I understand. I looking at this, I would think it had to be highly questionable, and I would wonder, she just happened to have a broken taillight. You know, like I don't know. I don't know if I would buy that. So, I don't want to put this person's name on blast here. Oh, I know what I can do, I think. There we go. All right, this should work, I think. Oh, come on. All right. Oh, does it keep going away if I get smaller? Okay, that'll work. Good enough. I don't care. So this is the video. This is a video showing Karen Reed leaving her house to go out and look for John O'Keefe that morning. Again, I want to point out how there's a security camera outside of this policeman's house, right over his garage. But there's no security camera said to have existed over that other policeman's house anywhere. I don't buy it. I don't buy that. I just don't. Anyway. So here's what happened when she went out looking for John O'Keefe. So you see here, is it going to play? I don't know if I can get it played now. It's small. Yeah, it's not going to play. All right. Oh, wait. Did they do that? No. All right, whatever. You're just going to see someone saying, this is from a group. I don't, whatever. All they did was post a video. So this is Karen Reed leaving to go look for John O'Keefe. The vehicle behind her is John O'Keefe's vehicle. Now, here's right in that pause. This is where it's claimed that she broke her taillight. I don't know if she did or not. Okay. Now, to hear the defense attorney talk about this, they say that you can see John O'Keefe's wheel move or whatever. I don't see that. But she does get awfully fucking close to it. It's very possible. And you don't have to hit something that fast or that hard to crack a taillight. You don't, like a stone can fucking crack a taillight. You know, like it's not that hard. So, and it does seem to be at an accurate angle in which that could happen at. So, what is this? Don't go back. Okay. So it's entirely possible. I've heard other things too, like there's some security camera footage or whatever showing that her tail light wasn't broken at some point in time driving. It was I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding anything that substantiates any claim like that. But this video does substantiate the claim that she broke it that night while looking for John O'Keefe. I think that that's entirely possible. But that's not even my problem with the whole tail light thing, okay? My whole problem with that is the claim. It's alleged by the coroner's office or whatever, or forensics, that there were microscopic pieces of her tail light found on the outer clothing, on the outside of John O'Keefe's clothing that contained his DNA. So that would mean that he was this tail light, microscopic pieces of it, came in contact with John O'Keefe on the outside of his clothing, somehow got into the inside of his clothing to get his DNA all over them. They made it back outside of his clothing and sat in the snow for hours and still contained the presence of DNA. I don't believe that. I mean, I'm not an expert in forensics or science or whatever, but that seems a little far-fetched to me. And the DNA even getting on there, maybe that can be explained in ways that I'm just not educated enough to explain. I would be curious how, but whatever. But then on top of that, the fact that they laid out there in the snow for hours and still has DNA. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. And at that point, if they were found in any snow or whatever around him or on the outside of his clothing, how do they know that the DNA in which got on these microscopic pieces didn't come from him bleeding out in the snow, in which case that could have still happened from anywhere. But still, you notice in this CNN article, it said that later on, the taillight pieces were found. So they weren't even found right when or around the time his body was found. They were found hours later. And also, is anyone who lives in Massachusetts, New York, whatever, up here in the Northeast knows, when there's a nor'easter, the municipalities send out big plows to plow the roads. States have them. Your towns and villages may have them. Your counties have them, okay? So this street was plowed as the snow was falling. The plow driver has stated on record that there was no body there, and until later. So there was no body there when he went by. I think I want to say 2:30 a.m. or maybe. I don't know. He gave a time, but the time was after 12:30 a.m. And he said that when he went by, there was no body laying there out there. And this was before like all this snow had fallen. Like it was still in the process of falling when he went by. And he said that there was no body there. But there would have had to have been a body there for Karen Reed to have been responsible for John O'Keefe's death. So the fact that there wasn't a body there kind of shows that chances are somebody else was responsible for the death, right? And then you take into account the investigating officer, the officer leading the investigation. Like I said, I think it's the troopers that are running this, and the officer's name is Proctor. Proctor has a lot of conflicts of interest in this case. I mean, it's kind of hard to be in law enforcement and not know fellow law enforcement people. So I get that. I get that that's going to happen. Okay, I'm not faulting him for that. But the fact that he did not make any of these things known, any of these relationships known from the get-go, I fault him for that. Especially in such a high-profile case. How do you not realize that you need to be extra transparent here? So the officers whose home it was, Proctor knows him and his family very well. Their families know each other. And though this officer from the get-go was not under investigation, his statements lend a lot to the investigation. So that's enough reason alone to not have these personal relationships, because there's a good argument to be made for bias there. You don't hand shit like that to a defense team. And that's exactly what they're doing. This police department is handling this in every wrong way, in my opinion. And now they're sitting back wondering why the fuck people don't believe them. Well, this is why. Now, it's possible that Karen did it. I don't know. But I don't see any evidence that supports or justifies a murder trial being brought against her at this point in time. I don't see it. In fact, I see a lot of evidence suggesting that it should not be brought against her. That's my opinion. I don't know who's at fault. I have no opinion on that now. I don't know. And maybe I never will form an opinion on that. But I do know that this case should not be going to trial, in my opinion. Again, though, who the fuck am I? Whatever. So what's going on here in chat? I'm so glad you are covering this Boston story. I have questions. Awesome. I thought people might be interested in this, but more importantly, I'm sorry. It is more importantly to me. I'm interested in this. I'm very interested in this. Oh, you're out shopping. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here, Sue. Hi. Hi, Jilby. I'm just looking to see where it's tagged in anything. If it was tagged in anything. Okay, I'll be back. Been following this case since the beginning. Live in Massachusetts. Awesome. Yeah, this is crazy. I knew she was going to keep the cat the whole time. I honestly didn't intend to. I had every intention of letting it go to a good home once one was found, and one was found. This was a very good home. I part of me still kind of wonders if this is the right decision maybe for her. But then there are moments when I'm curled up with her where I'm just like, yeah, no, this was the right decision for her. And you know, we're gonna have to make some adjustments, and we're gonna have to install some catwalks here, obviously. But I think once we do that, I think it'll be a lot better. So, I mean, the cat and the dog, they're not going at it. They're still very curious about each other because we've been so adamant about not leaving room for any error just in case, you know. So we haven't really let them be around each other. Like the little house behind me, it's just, you know, mesh material. And I put the cat in it, and the dog could easily just squash that thing or just rip it apart in 2 seconds. But the dog, either there's like just enough of obedience there or just enough stupidity, probably a little bit of both. She doesn't try, but she will run around that thing for like seemingly hours. Really, she's only had the opportunity to run around it for a few minutes, but she didn't stop until we pulled her away. She just kept running around the house like, how do I get in? How do I get in? How do I get in? So, and she chases the cat whenever they're near each other, but she doesn't do anything. She's been right up next to the cat, and the dog just sits there looking at her. You know, the cat will like get up and, you know, its back arch, it'll hiss at the dog, it'll swat at the dog and run away, and the dog's just like, what was that? I gotta find that. And just keep chasing it. But because she's such a big dog, we're worried. Because we think that she will absolutely go after like some smaller rodents and shit outside if she were given the opportunity. But that's different than something being inside of her home and being obviously cared for and loved by her humans. So we don't know. This is her home, though. She belongs here. She now belongs here. So, yeah. All right, so where are we at now? I'm going to continue covering this case as more unfolds and as I learn more about it too, because I'm still coming into everything for the first time. But I'm very interested, and I'm like consuming anything that comes my way pretty much. So there will be more discussion about this going forward. Absolutely. And I will continue talking about Mark Latia too as things come up. Like I'm just okay. Turtleboy's fucking live stream was removed. Like I don't know when it was removed, but we'll say about 12 to 14 hours after it went up. It was removed by YouTube. But Mark Latia's video where he's interviewing a 13-year-old girl about her work as a sex worker, that's still up. They just made him blur out her exposed breasts. That's it. Like, come on. Like, this is crazy. I'm sorry. That's just fucking crazy. I'm sorry. I don't like to call for people's cancellation. I'm not calling for his cancellation. I just think that he should not be profiting off of this shit, because not everyone has a right to make money any way they can for the most part, as long as it's legal. But that's the thing. I don't think what he's doing is legal, or I don't think it should be legal. Definitely the video he put up there yesterday about Nova, that, in my opinion, is not legal. Not even now with it blurred. I think it should be legal, but that's me. Whatever. Okay, that's funny. Anyway. Yeah, it's the guy from Software Underbelly. Yep. I've talked about him before when I was discussing the whole Lima and Bam Margera thing. I did a part 1 and part 2 video on that. And I pretty much had this opinion on Mark Latia before, but just not that extreme, because he still seemed to keep his disgustingness, right at the line, I think, of what is allowed anyway. But now I think he's surpassed that line. So, yeah. She always belonged to you. Hi, Rabbit, by the way. All right. So now there's been a little bit, I'm going to just briefly touch on this. There's been a little bit of discussion happening in the comment section for my most recent upload. What was it? Oh, wait a minute. Can I save that? Can I save that too? Can I open it? Oh, awesome. Okay. So I just noticed on the tab I had open to Turtleboy's video, the stream that was removed, my YouTube comment search box. So I had the comments and the chat replay as an option. Although I have a hard time believing that that's all the comments. You got only 34 comments. That had been an older thing of it. I don't know. But I downloaded it. I saved the chat and the comments because by the fuck now. So yeah, interesting. What if I do that? Yeah, it's a miracle I was able to get that, because as I hit reload now and it goes away, it disappears. So holy shit. Oh, that's awesome. I love it when pages don't refresh automatically. Anyway, where was I going? Where the fuck was I going? Oh, my channel, that's right. So the double downer video. Any which way you look at it, Nonsense said in an older stream, or not older stream, recent stream, like what, maybe a week ago, she said, maybe about like 10 days ago, she said that Veta had told 2 different stories regarding the death of her brother. And Nonsense said that she had proof of this. She's not gonna bother pulling up. She's gonna let Veta expose herself. She's not gonna expose her for herself. Go find it yourself, basically. But she had proof that she was lying because she had 2 different stories. Now, I don't care if You can believe it, you can disbelieve it, whatever. That's your own personal opinion and you're welcome to it. But I'm not talking about Nonsense's opinion here. She said that there was proof that this in fact happened, that there were in fact two different stories. And she went on and she bitched and whined throughout an entire live stream about this. But that was found to be bullshit. It was found to be incorrect. At the very least, that was incorrect. I think it's more likely that was purposely incorrect, but I digress. So when this was brought to Nonsense's attention in her more recent live stream from the other night, someone in the comments has said, yeah, well, you were proven wrong, though, when you said this. And to which Nonsense basically doubled down on what she said in a very vague way. She definitely didn't come out and say, yeah, I was incorrect. My bad. No. She said, well, you can think whatever you want, but I'm where I'm standing because this is where I think it, yada, yada. That's what I was calling attention to, because I've been saying this for a while now, that I question or I side by people who say, you know, I make mistakes, I'm not perfect, and then they move on. It's when people can point out their mistakes and still sit and talk about them in the form of ownership for their mistakes. That's when I find what they're saying to be credible. And Nonsense is yet to do that. And even I think one time she almost did that, which said, you know, yeah, sure, I was wrong about my opinion on Dre McRae and a lot of things in the very beginning, but that's only because of the video clips that were being shown. They were purposely being manipulated and taken out of context, which we all know now that that's bullshit. So she was excusing her mistake, whatever. So yeah, I take issue with that. And this was a perfect example for her to have done that. And now she's not even taking ownership for having made a mistake. She said, fuck you. I don't care. I believe what I believe. And I still think this, and fuck you. So I have a hard time really believing and trusting or finding anyone to be at all credible when it's such a blatant example of them being wrong. They can't even own having been wrong. That's where my video was coming from. There was a whole point in my short 1 minute and 14-second video. That was the whole point of it. It wasn't Vanna's story. It wasn't Vanna anything. It wasn't anything to do with Vanna. It was Nonsense's behavior, what she said. Her inability to take any kind of accountability for something that she said or done. Now, she doesn't have to. I get that. She doesn't owe it to anyone. Sure. It's not the point, though. The point is that she still did it. I'm pointing it out. I have every right to do that. So that's what I've done. That's the whole point of my video. That's it. All right. That's about it for Nonsense. And I know I put Katie in their title, but it's getting kind of late. I've been up here for a while. I kind of want to sign off. My back's killing me. I want to go lay down for a little bit. And I'm starving. I'm so hungry. Oh, you don't understand her panic? I mean, she dropped him at his buddy's house. Really? Okay. I mean, they argued a lot. This was said. They probably broke up often. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if they're both in bars drinking, then they're both talking to people of the opposite sex. So she was probably like, where the fuck is he? Who's he talking to? Who's he with? Why isn't he answering my fucking calls? And then you start calling more and more. But then after, at some point in time, you're going to flip sides here. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is not like him. Even if he were with someone, he would have at least fed me a line of bullshit by now. He would not be just flat out ignoring me like this. What happened? Oh my God, is he okay? Is something wrong? Then you're going to keep calling in hopes that if something did happen, you can snap him out of it. You whatever, just your phone, his phone ringing will somehow bring him back to you. You know, I completely understand. Like, was it someone was questioning like her 49 calls or something like that? I don't question that, not one bit, not one bit. I have no trust issues, none whatsoever. You bet your ass I'd be calling that phone 49 times had I been in her shoes. Fuck yeah. So that I would find it weird. I would find it odd if she didn't call a shitload of times. If she just like called once or twice, then I'd be like, well, it looks like she's just trying to make it look good, like she tried to call, but she already knew what the case was. So why bother keeping up this facade? She did enough to paint that picture, But the fact that she kept calling like a maniac, that tells me that she expected him to answer. She expected something to come from her phone calls. That's what that tells me. So. People are crazy. I mean, crazy in driving in Boston for the cops. Oh, God. Okay. On that note, I'm going to sign off. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And I don't know, maybe I'll be around later tonight. I don't know. Am I working? I am working tomorrow. I might stream tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. So, oh my God, thank you so much for the super chat, Joby. Thank you. Happy holidays to you. And happy holidays. If any of you, if I don't see you between now and the holidays, I hope you all have a great holiday, regardless of what it is you celebrate, or if you don't celebrate it. I hope you have wonderful opportunity and time with family and friends. So, all right. Thanks for being here, guys. Have a good day. Bye.